Well, now that I have to scrub the images of man love out of my brain, respect you too, Phil. And the other great thing, that was a really nice moment because I'm sitting right by Andrew Breitbart, and when Phil said that thing about not getting the speaker's fees, Andrew went, "Excuse me, what? What the hell?" Come to a Tea Party meeting, you'll learn something every 5 minutes. All right, we're about to learn something because the Tea Party's about heart, it's about passion, but it's also about our minds. And this next guy has a really big brain, and I've come to appreciate it at some of the Institute for Policy Innovation luncheons. Buddy Matthews and Tom Giovanetti are here for my PI. Where are these guys? Where are my buddies? The greatness of the Institute for Policy Innovation, IPI.org, heroes in this. And they have a nice lunch every month where we as conservatives get together. 2 years ago, we as conservatives got together and wondered, like where to slit our wrists. And now we're getting together and planning victory parties for this November and November 2012. Oh, how the pendulum has swung. And this next gentleman, at the most recent one of those, talked about down ballot voting. And, you heard me say play hard and play smart. And Ken has, again, just a really big brain. A brain so big it has forced every hair out of the top of his head. Proving once again that I am almost as smart as Ken. But I don't know if that'll ever happen. You're about to hear some of his brilliance because he's just an incredible guy, a DallasTeaParty.org charter founder kind of guy with all kinds of advice on the big theme of how to take all this passion, all this heart, and play hard and play smart. Ken Emanuelson, everybody. Come on up, Ken.
Wow. Well, that kind of an intro, I'm just about bound to fail, but but I'll do what I can. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank every one of you for coming out here tonight. As you all know, this is our election season kickoff meeting, and I got to tell you, I see right in front of me success for conservatism in Dallas County in 2010. You're going to hear from a lot of folks tonight. You're going to hear from some folks that have, particulars mentioned, Lori Medina. Lori Medina has been working tirelessly, putting together a game plan for neighborhoods all over North Texas. If you want to know what to do between now and November 2nd, she can give you a day-to-day, probably hour-by-hour itinerary of what you need to be doing between now and then to get your neighborhood out to vote and get them to do what they need to do and exercise their citizens' duty. Folks, most of us were born here. Not all of us, most of us were born here. And if we were born here, that means we were born into liberty. We were born into freedom. That means we didn't earn it. We didn't earn it. We didn't start from some situation of tyranny and then had to struggle to earn our liberty. We were given it. We didn't fight for it. And although that's a beautiful thing that we have it, it's a little bit tragic that we don't appreciate it. And our fellow citizens don't appreciate it because we didn't earn it. And when you don't earn something, you don't really appreciate it the same way that someone who earned it appreciates it. You want to see the best Americans, a lot of those weren't born here. A lot of the best Americans were born somewhere else. They were born in places like Eastern Europe, places like China. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a duty. We don't just have an opportunity this November. We have a duty to get ourselves to the polls. We have a duty to get our families to the polls. We have a duty to get our neighbors to the polls. To exercise those freedoms and liberties that someone else paid dearly for. We must never forget that, folks, that we have a duty, that we owe a debt for that liberty. And we cannot let it slip away on our watch. But if we don't exercise that duty, it will slip away. Our freedoms have never been so in jeopardy as they are right now. For years and years, the progressive movement has They've kind of stayed down in the shadows, and they've shown their true colors now and then, but only rarely. And when they did, they got smacked back. Well, with the election in 2008, they felt like they'd finally gotten to a place where they could show their true colors and stand out into the light and show what they were really all about, which is a left-wing takeover of America, the end of what we would consider to be your basic traditional American values. I would guess that you all are here because you believe in those values. You still believe in things like limited government and fiscal responsibility and personal responsibility and the rule of law and national sovereignty. If you believe in those things, then you are a member of the Dallas Tea Party, whether you know it or not. Ladies and gentlemen, it's only 2 months until Election Day. And between now and Election Day, there are things we can be doing every day to get the message to our neighbors, to our family, to our friends, that they must get to the polls. And there's a second part of that message that we need to be sending. It's not enough to go down to the polling place and vote for governor and vote for your congressman, turn in your ballot and go home. That's not enough. That's not really voting, and that's not really doing your duty. There are a lot of good candidates that are running for office this season that you won't find anywhere near the top of the ballot. I was talking to someone the other day. Dallas County has the longest ballot in Texas. It's the truth. It's the longest ballot in Texas. And there's a thing called voter fatigue. When voters go into the polling places, they vote, and they after a while they get tired. And they'll vote maybe half a dozen races, maybe 10 races, and then they get tired and they turn it in and go home. They figure somebody else will vote and somebody else will decide that race. And they figure, you know, I voted on the important races. I voted for governor. I voted for congressman. Let me tell you, when you stand in front of the bench in court, there is no one more important than who's sitting behind that bench. And why? And if you don't have an acquaintance or you haven't been involved with the Dallas County court systems, I can tell you, I'm an attorney. I can tell you that they're a mess. And if we don't do something to change the direction, we're going to continue to have a mess, and there are real consequences for that. So don't let yourself, don't let your friends, don't let your family fall into that trap, that deception of thinking those down the ballot races don't matter. They matter every bit, and in many cases more than those races at the top. So folks, we have 2 months. Between now and then, I encourage you, I beg you, do everything you can to get everyone you know as informed as possible, as energized as possible, and get them to the polls and get them to vote every race on the ballot. And if you do that, we will have done the biggest thing we can to take this county back for conservative American values. It's not hyperbole to say, as goes Texas, so goes the nation. And it's not really hyperbole to say, as goes Dallas County, so goes Texas. Let's turn this country around, and let's start right here, November 2nd. Thank you, everyone.
Ken Emanuelson. Told you. Told you. Okay, been about 15, 20 minutes. Time to get somebody up here who's not a white man. And now, I say that completely in jest because I want to take you to a, not just because the next lady is fantastic in her own right and would be no matter what she were. Dallas Morning News, I can't be too unkind because they let me blather in there every Wednesday, so, you know. And I thank them for that. But there was an article they wrote. They had a thing in Farmers Branch. Oh, God bless Farmers Branch. Can I throw that down? Oh. I suggested to city leaders a Farmers Branch bumper sticker, a little taste of Arizona in the middle of Texas. They'll work on that, the artwork and all of that. But the reporter who covered, they had a rally on, was it the 4th of July? I don't know, it just wasn't long ago. It was a thing about against, thank you very much, your Rolodex better than mine. It was Americans against amnesty for illegals. And the story actually had a line that referred to the ethnic mix of the speakers. Okay, cool, glad they noticed that. But the snarky sentence went, the agenda featured many speakers. Texas is, filled with, racial minorities, et cetera, ethnic minorities, which is true. And it said they filled the agenda with speakers who are Hispanic in order to fend off accusations of racism. Oh, it wasn't because they had anything to say. It wasn't because we found a Hispanic guy who likes Arizona. It wasn't because conservative Hispanics exist. Oh, no, it was just to fend off cries of racism. Man, that chaps me to the bone. Now, so let me tell you that no matter what words came out of this woman's mouth, no matter what's in her heart, I love her. And it's here's the weird thing.